Well, good evening. Andrew here with the South Appalachian Weather Channel with a briefing for January 8th. It's about 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we're looking at this. And what you can see already here, we're looking at some rainfall. Finally, in the midst of this drought that we're continuing to deal with, we are looking at some rainfall over the next couple of days, and we'll get into the specifics of why I'm doing a briefing just on rainfall here in just a bit, as we are expecting a chance of perhaps some localized flash flooding. Again, we'll get into those specifics here in just a bit. Also, for what it's worth, I'm actually on the road right now, which is why this is a graphics-only briefing. But again, just looking at this here, you can see the QPF, or Quantitative Precipitation Forecast. We're looking at expected 2+ inches across our region. You can see that across North Georgia into our North Carolina counties, a little bit less in Polk County, Tennessee, but pretty much across the board, a widespread 1.5 to 2 inches, much needed across our region with our D2, or severe drought designation, that we actually were upgraded to today. Taking a step backwards, though, if we take a quick look at where we are right now with the surface analysis, you can see pressure gradient stretching from that low pressure system, complex low pressure system across Iowa, stretching over into our region. Winds will be picking up a little bit, but not really like what we were seeing a couple of weeks ago when we had that very strong cold front move through and very tight pressure gradient. We do have a warm front lifting through tonight and advancing on to 7 a.m., that's what that 12Z Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. Warm front continuing to push through, rain beginning as we head on into 7 p.m. tomorrow night, again indicated by that 0Z, or 0 UTC Saturday. That'll be 7 p.m. again Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. Heavy rain continuing on, and then 7 p.m., for Saturday night, rain will finally be ending as the cold front advances through our area. Again, notice the pressure gradient nowhere near as tight. Not really expecting super gusty winds, although we'll get to that possibility of strong thunderstorms as well here in just a bit. But first, I want to zero in on these rain chances, because if you look right here, the day 2 excessive rainfall outlook, this is an outlook that you may not be seeing on the news very often. This is looking at the chances of flash flooding. And as you can see right here, our entire region is designated in a slight risk, or in this case, a 2 out of 4 risk of seeing a possibility of some flash flooding. Now, normally, this really isn't that big of a deal. We get these actually several times a year. Honestly, a couple dozen times a year will be in that slight risk. But again, because of that D2, that significant or severe drought, rather, we already have some very dry ground. We've all been seeing that. It's very dusty, very dry. Been having to deal with that over the last couple of weeks. And because of that, the ground is going to be very hard, which means we will have a greater chance of heavy rain running off rather than soaking into the ground, which means some low-lying areas of our region, again, bearing in mind a widespread 2+ inches of rain over the next several days, we're going to be looking at a possibility that some low-lying areas could see a little higher water levels than normal when we have a big winter system go through. And by winter system, I don't mean winter weather. I just mean a cold front moving through with rainfall during the winter. So, again, all of that to say, we are looking at this possibility of some heavier rainfall, and low-lying areas are going to see that possibility of some localized flooding, depending on exactly where thunderstorms go. Speaking of thunderstorms, now we're going to jump over to the Storm Prediction Center outlook, and that is what we're typically accustomed to when we're thinking of these marginal, slight, moderate, enhanced type of classifications, because that deals with tornadoes, wind, and hail. Now, as you can see, we're actually in a marginal risk, which is a 1 out of 5 on this scale, as far as the risk of, in general, tornadoes, wind, and hail. If we look at it, that 2% on tornado, 5% on wind, and they're actually not outlining anything for us on hail. Basically, all of that boils down to just a possibility that we could see some stronger thunderstorms, maybe some gusts of wind to that severe level of 60 mile an hour. a chance of a spin up tornado, but really, I'm not seeing a lot of indicators of this being a tornado risk for our area. Again, definitely not a time to let your guard down as we head through Friday and on into Saturday. Just be weather aware, keep an eye on what's going on. So, all of that to say, the biggest impacts that we're really going to be seeing is definitely chipping away at that drought, and then that possibility of low-lying areas seeing some flooding, and then also a chance of some rumbles of thunder, as well as perhaps some gusts of wind. That slimmest of slim chances of a tornado, but really that is not the big concern out of this at all. The main thing is just that possibility, again, of seeing some low-lying flooding and flash flooding. So keep weather aware as we go through the next couple of days. Keep an eye on the forecast from the guys of the Weather Service out of Knoxville or Morristown and out of Atlanta. Keep an eye out for any possible watches or warnings that may be issued as this unfolds. And again, just stay weather aware. Be careful out there. This will be the end of this briefing, and we do have some exciting educational stuff in the works coming in a few weeks. But like I said, I've been on the road right now, so that's why this briefing, not on camera, but getting the graphics here tonight.